Okay, today I'm going to do a quick driveway service on this 2015 Yukon. This is my wife's car. It's got about 120,000 miles. These are great cars, except a lot of these GM SUVs and pickups are plagued with transmission shudder. So you may be familiar with this in your vehicle. What's happening whenever it shifts from first to second, second to third, whatever, more so at low RPM, low speed, it feels like the car is shaking. So that's called shudder. It's coming from within the transmission. In this case, it's got low fluid. It's never been serviced. So I'm going to add a little bit of fluid. I'm going to show you what I add, how I add it. By this point in its life, 120,000 miles, really it needs to have had a fluid change, not necessarily a flush. What I would recommend is dropping the pan, putting a filter in there, adding some fluid, and keep going. AMSOIL is what I would recommend in these vehicles. I think the reason these vehicles shudder is because the fluid stuffed in it from the factory is just not that good. But this car has still gone 120,000 miles with no issues, so it's still good enough. But let's take a look. So there's no transmission dipstick. You can't check the fluid from the engine compartment like you might be used to doing. You've got to service it from underneath the car. So there's a fill plug on the passenger side of the transmission that you have to pull out to open the port to add transmission fluid. There's a drain plug on the front driver's side corner of the transmission pan. You remove that 10mm bolt to see when it starts to drip. So this is what I'll be adding. LubeGard Platinum comes in a 10-ounce bottle. It's $20. I got 2 bottles for this, and it's already taken 1 bottle, and that essentially cured the problem. Within the first mile, I could tell the shudder is gone. But the transmission is not topped off yet, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more. So basically, I come over here to the passenger side of the car. And now we're looking at transmission pan, kind of sandwiched between the exhaust here. This is a heat shield. It's going to come out with a couple of 10mm bolts. So one of those is going to be right here. So this is coming out to the side, and then there's another one on the top, 10mm. And there's a third one on the back. You can leave that one in there because now we have enough wiggle room that we can see where, let me get a light on. We can see this is the fill port, so that's where we're going to add fluid. This is the plug that comes out of the port. So basically you pop up this button off the top, and then you've just got to wiggle this thing out of that port. Essentially this is just a more inconvenient setup than having a dipstick tube. I really don't know why they did it this way, because this is just a press fit, just like a dipstick tube would be. But anyways, we're going to add fluid from here with it running in park. Here's the drain plug. It's just a 10mm bolt. So if this is running in park and I remove that 10mm bolt and nothing comes out, that means the transmission is low on fluid. So I'm going to add that 10-ounce bottle through this service port until it starts to drip from this drain hole. And when it starts to drip steadily, then I'll plug this and put this plug back in. You do have to be careful here because obviously with this running in park, your exhaust is going to get hot, and you don't want to burn yourself by touching the exhaust while you're fiddling with this port. but there's a way to fill it without being underneath the car. So from above the car, I just take some rubber hose. This is just fuel injection hose. You can get transmission cooler line or whatever, rubber hose. And I'm just going to stuff it between the engine and the firewall. Just stuff it down in there and then get back under the car and poke it in that service port. So then I'll turn the car on, it'll run and park, and I'll just add fluid slowly into this hose until it starts to drip, drip, drip off that drain port. And once it starts dripping, seal it all back up, and off you go.